Hey, welcome everyone to the Focus TV. We got Octavia White here, Cardo Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons, Malik Miller, Wilson Tarpey Jr. We're gonna get straight to it. Octavia, what happened in your division? I know you're at peace. Your team didn't play, so the floor's yours.
Yeah, I love the bye weeks, especially when my team doesn't play and we still win. So that's always amazing. Um, with us being on a bye this week, there were, of course, three other games. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, did not play, but I will touch on one reason why they won the week as well. As we all know, and I'm sure we'll get into later, I won't go too deep into it, but we did just reach the trade deadline at 4 p.m. Eastern today. The Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman was busy earlier this week. Didn't do anything today, but did a lot over the weekend since, of course, they were on their bye. So they added three defensive players to their team. The Eagles added Jalen Phillips, edge rusher from Miami. He was acquired for a 2026 third round pick. They also added Jair Alexander, cornerback, from the Baltimore Ravens, who was also traded for a 2026 sixth round pick, and the Eagles also received a 2027 seventh round pick. And then they also traded for Michael Carter II, cornerback from the New York Jets. Uh, the Eagles traded wide receiver John Mechie and a 2027 sixth round pick. And they received, of course, Michael Carter II and a 2027 seventh rounder. Much needed for the defense on the back end. I've heard a lot of mixed emotions from both sides, from the teams they came from and the team now that they're on, the Philadelphia Eagles. All three of these players they come with their own issues. Jalen Phillips and Michael Carter have struggled with some injuries. Jair Alexander as well in the past. We know he's been healthy scratches from the Ravens games recently, but I think it just bolsters a little bit of the defensive depth that they definitely need, especially as far as some vets. So they definitely needed some things. Yeah, I didn't even look at the rest of it. Practice squad. Really good to hear about Noah Smith coming back from injured reserve. And I feel like they release Patrick Johnson and re-sign him all the time, so I'm sure he'll be back pretty soon sometime. But they won, they won in this situation, just getting some depth in some key places, knowing that we've been struggling in. But they also won the week because they didn't play and they didn't lose, and everybody else in the division lost. The Philadelphia Eagles are now atop of the NFC, as well as, of course, the NFC East. But I will start with your Washington Commanders. They played Sunday night and they played against the Seattle Seahawks, and they were defeated by the Seahawks 38-14. Um, Jaden Daniels was 16 of 22, 153 yards and one interception, 10 carries, 51 yards and one touchdown. Chris Rodriguez Jr. had 12 carries for 65 yards, and Zach Ertz had 4 receptions for 46 yards. Sam Darnold was 21 of 24, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Kenneth Walker III had 11 carries, 42 yards, 2 receptions for 19 yards. AJ Barner, 1 carry for 1 yard and 1 touchdown, and 3 receptions for 24 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 2 receptions, 129 yards, 1 carry, 11 yards. Cody White had 1 reception for 60 yards and 1 touchdown. Taylor Horton had 4 receptions for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Elijah Arroyo had 2 receptions for 29 yards and 1 touchdown. Yeah, there was a lot of touchdowns from the Seahawks, and it was ugly fast. I know Malik said he went to the game. I'm sure he had a great time in that atmosphere. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Of course, probably the most devastating thing that came out of this game as the first pictures that show with Jaden Daniels it was just so ugly. Unfortunate for him. I'm glad I did not see it live. By then I was asleep because the game was over. And Jaden Daniels probably also should have been sleeping, not in the game at this point. But here we are at this point where you have a quarterback who's already missed multiple games this season for various injuries, not just one, a knee injury, a hamstring injury, and you have him out there down 31 points to the Seattle Seahawks. I don't understand it. I'm sure hindsight is 2020 with Dan Quinn. I know Sunday night after the game, he stated that, of course you don't put people in there and think those things are going to happen. But I think he kind of walked it back on Monday. It was just unacceptable at that point. It was malpractice. He shouldn't have been out there, especially because, like I said, he's already been pretty injured throughout the season already. So there was really no point to it. So as you see, he dislocated his elbow and his non-throwing arm. He, again, like I said, he returned from the hamstring issue. He also, he was a bright spot for them for a little bit of the game while they tried. But it didn't look good all the way. The Commanders defense, of course, who have already been struggling in these past couple of weeks, completely overwhelmed by Sam Darnold. I think they said Sam Darnold had already passed for 3 touchdowns before he had an incompletion. I mean, that's just crazy.
He was perfect at halftime.
Yeah. So there's no way you can win like that. Now, I think maybe a bright spot for the moment for the Commanders or the defense in that game was Marshawn Lattimore did have a pretty nice interception of Sam Darnold, but adding insult to injury, not only did they have an injury to Jaden Daniels with his left elbow, Marshawn Lattimore actually tore his ACL in this game, and he is also out for the season. They also went into this game with no Terry McLaurin, who's still nursing, I think it's a groin injury of some sort. So that added insult to injury. And then on top of that, Monday, I literally was just scrolling, and every time I looked up, Adam was just like, this person's out, this person's out, this person's out. Luke McCaffrey also broke his collarbone in this game, and he is also out for the season. They still have some knick-knack injuries along their offensive line as well. It's just not looking good for them at this point. Again, like I said, their defense did not play well. Again, Sam Darnold completed his first 17 passes and threw 4 touchdowns in the first half. It was just bad. There's really nothing to talk about for this game. I mean, even before the injury that Jaden Daniels suffered, the Commanders' offense really didn't look that great. Again, like I said, they didn't have a lot of their weapons, knowing Terry McLaurin didn't play. Luke McCaffrey got injured pretty early on in the game. We know Noah Brown still hasn't played this year. Zach Ertz is doing everything he possibly can, but he can't do it on his own, and we know he's a little bit longer in the tooth. It's just bad. The performance followed, of course, they lost to the Cowboys and the Chiefs in disturbing fashions as well, and they're on a 4-game losing streak at this point. Yeah, it's just all bad at this point. It doesn't get any better for them going forward. They're going to play against the Detroit Lions this Sunday, who are coming off of a loss to the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be a little bit angry. So I don't know what reinforcements that they're going to call in, knowing that at least we just got to the trade deadline. They didn't make any moves. So not sure what we're going to see at this point. It's really sad to see to a certain degree. After the incredible season they had last year, going all the way to the NFC Championship, and for it to turn around this fast, I feel for some of you Commanders fans. A lot of y'all are saying the curse of Dan Snyder is obviously still here or back again. But hopefully these players get, healthy. I don't think they've actually set a timetable for Jaden Daniels because, of course, it is his non-throwing arm. But I don't really expect to see him back for the rest of the year. I would be surprised if we did. And Marcus Mariota is going to be poised to step in for him. Next, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who played last night on Monday Night Football, and they played against the Arizona Cardinals. They lost to the Cardinals 27-17. Dak Prescott was 24 of 39, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 4 carries for 34 yards. Javonte Williams had 15 carries for 83 yards and 1 reception for 0 yards. CeeDee Lamb had 7 receptions for 85 yards, and Ryan Flournoy had 2 receptions for 12 yards and 1 touchdown. On the other side, Jacoby Brissett was 21 of 31, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries for 4 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Emari Demercado had 17 carries for 79 yards and 1 reception for -1 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., 7 receptions, 96 yards, 1 touchdown, and 5 receptions. Yeah, that's it. And then Trey McBride was 5 receptions, 55 yards, and 1 touchdown. Yeah, the defense still looks bad. I don't think anybody is surprised at this point. It just does not look good. I think probably part of the surprise in this game a little bit was that their offensive line struggles were pretty bad in this game. Rookie Tyler Guyton allowed a critical sack on the opening drive. Terrence Steele was actually benched in this game for repeated breakdowns that he had. Dak Prescott was running for his life. And again, this just proves again that if Dak and the offense do not have an out-of-body experience when they're playing on the offensive side of the ball, they really don't have a chance because their defense just cannot seem to hold up. Now, I feel like their defense played a little bit better, but a lot of people probably thought they were going to run away with this game because the Cardinals were 2-5 at this point, but they lost their 5 games by a combination of 14 points. So all of their games that they lost were by 4 points or less. So they were in every single game. And this was probably their most complete game. Their defense was on it. Like I said, Dak Prescott was running for his life for a majority of the game. Now, despite moving the ball effectively at times, they failed to capitalize in the red zone. The Cowboys did. They reached the inside of Arizona's 25-yard line 3 times in the first half, but came away with only 3 points. They didn't score an offensive touchdown until the second half. Their only spark was their special teams, who blocked the punt and returned it for a touchdown. The last touchdown that they got was really in garbage time for the Dallas Cowboys at that point. But I guess reinforcements are on the way. We talk about the trade deadline, and the Dallas Cowboys were actually a little busy at the trade deadline this year, which doesn't happen that much, to be completely honest. We know how Jerry Jones is when it comes to trade deadlines and not really wanting to pay people or give up draft capital. But they did receive Quinn Williams, a defensive tackle from the New York Jets. The Cowboys sent a 2026 second-round pick, a 2027 first-round pick, and defensive tackle Mazi Smith to the Jets in exchange for Quinn Williams. They also did require Logan Wilson, linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals, and they actually acquired a 2026 seventh-round pick. So I don't think anybody thinks that these 2 acquisitions are going to be much of anything to do. Maybe it's to build for the future. We know Quinn Williams, outstanding defensive tackle, out there wasting away in the Meadowlands. So I'm interested to see how it works. He's really good at stopping and running. We know that the Cowboys on the defensive side are struggling with that as well. I would have liked to see them get some secondary help a little bit. We know that they've been struggling. Deron Bland got embarrassed last night by Marvin Harrison Jr. To the point where CeeDee Lamb got caught in 4K, laughing at his man getting cooked up a little bit. But it happens with the best of them, I guess, at this point. But it's not looking good for them. They are going into a bye this week, though. So they do have a little bit of time to potentially get these 2 new players up to snuff, I guess, as much as they possibly can. When they return, they'll be playing against the Raiders. We know the Raiders are not doing well at all. Yeah, you got to remember they got that big old screen up there in AT&T Stadium. He was caught in 4K. But hey, he's a wide receiver, so I'm sure he's used to it. Watching people he's used to doing that to people as well. So, but yeah, it was just not a good showing. Sucks for the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. As you guys know, I hate primetime games. And for them to have back-to-back primetime games and have both of those outcomes, it's not a good look for them. And last but not least, the New York Giants played against the San Francisco 49ers. They lost to the 49ers 34-24. Jackson Dart was 23 of 33, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries for 56 yards and 1 touchdown. Devin Singletary had 8 carries for 43 yards. Darius Slayton, 5 receptions for 62 yards. Theo Johnson had 3 receptions, 27 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Gunner, not saying his last name, 1 reception for 24 yards and 1 touchdown. On the other side, McCorkle Jones was 19 of 24, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 carries for 4 yards. Christian McCaffrey, workhorse, 28 carries, 106 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 receptions for 67 yards and 1 touchdown. Brian Robinson Jr. had 5 carries for 53 yards and 1 touchdown. And Jawan Jennings had 4 receptions, 41 yards, and 1 touchdown. While Jackson Dart has shown some flashes, right now they really just lack any type of explosive playmakers for them. We know Malik Neighbors went out. We know Cam Scatterboo's gone out. Wan'Dale Robinson Jr. shows flashes. Darius Slayton shows flashes, but they've never been the guy that's going to be out there and help him out. And to be fair, Jackson Dart is really shouldering a lot of the offensive responsibility. And, I mean, he's doing as much as he can. Like I said, 23 33, 191, 2 touchdowns. And, you know, you have some spots coming in like Theo Johnson, Gunner, coming up in some situations where they're catching touchdowns. But it's just not going to be enough. He was forced into a lot of checkdowns, of course. They still struggle. And again, like I said, no Malik Neighbors, no Cam Scatterboo. Tyron Tracy Jr., Devin Singletary, they're just not going to be that explosive player that they really need. The Giants defense has now allowed 30-plus points in 3 straight games, despite having, again, we talked about early in the season, a really good defense on paper. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowden, of course, is under heavy scrutiny, as their entire coaching staff is with Daboll. Even though I think Daboll may have bought himself some more time with Jackson, it just so happens that he lost key playmakers as well. Their pass rush was ineffective. Just the 49ers just did pretty much whatever they wanted. Mac Jones averaged just 2.48 seconds to throw, neutralizing the Giants' front 7, so if they couldn't get to him, the ball was out too fast. I guess you want to call it a bright spot for them. Brian Burns, definitely had a good game, as much as you possibly can in a game like this. He recorded a sack, a forced fumble, and batted on a key third down pass. Continuing a pretty good defensive season for him. It's just not going to really be looked at because the Giants are just bad at this point. They've had flashes, but just hasn't been good, and they also did not do anything at the trade deadline. They will play Sunday against the Bears, who have been playing well as well. That game against the Cincinnati Bengals was crazy. As I'm sure we'll get into, there were a lot of crazy games this past weekend. Just not in the NFC East. It was pretty standard across the board in that aspect. But yeah, we'll be back at it again next week.
All right, to the association and your Washington Wizards.
Don't put them on me, man. But no, the Wizards, they've been going through it since the last time we saw you guys. They've played 5 games, and they have lost 5 games. Just plain and simple, man. If you guys have been watching Wizards Outlook, it doesn't have to be too complicated. They have to start playing some defense. We've been maybe the last 2 seasons at least, we've been talking about the dreaded 40-point quarter. And whenever that happens, the Wizards lose. And they've managed to give up a 40-point quarter in each of these 5 games. One game they've been so kind to give up 2 40-point quarters. So, if they don't defend, then this is just going to be the norm. We've been saying it for a while, and it's just been proven correct. There have been some bright spots. Keyshawn George is coming into his own this year. He started off the year really well, but defense has started kind of keying in on him and limiting his productivity. Alex Sarr has shown some flashes as well, but overall it's just not enough. They go into the locker room at halftime and they just decide that they've done enough and the other team had their way. We saw it in the game last night. Was in the game against the Knicks going into the break. It was a 3-point game. I came out in the third quarter and everything fell apart, and it started with the defense. If they're not defending and getting stops, then everything else falls apart. Their offense isn't as fluid because they're not getting out and getting easy looks and fast breaks. And then on top of that, they're turning the ball over. Coincidentally enough, against the Knicks, only 5 of their 20 turnovers came in the third quarter when the Knicks were on that crazy run. They just weren't defending. They couldn't stop the Knicks from doing anything in that third quarter. And it was mostly in the half court. But yeah, man, it's tough sledding. They're sitting at 1-6. And I just don't know where they go from here. At some point, somebody's gonna have to be ashamed and do something about it. But until then, we're just gonna keep getting these results. They gonna be a little busy for the remainder of the week. Tomorrow night they're at Boston. Then they got a home and home back to back on Friday against Cleveland and on Saturday against the Mavericks. Coincidentally, the Mavericks gave them their only win of the season. So I'm pretty sure Dallas is going to be on get back. So we'll see how those games go, and we'll check in with you guys next week.
Yeah, definitely a busy week. And as Ray said, if you miss any episodes of Wizards Outlook, just get over to the channel, check out that tab. But Cardell, you and I both got one of those wonderful, wonderful introductory nights to college basketball, which was everyone's busy, so many screens, everything's going on. Yay, basketball, but floor is yours.
Yep. George Washington had his season debut against Maine in the American East, and with the strong second half, they defeated Maine 67-47. The Revolutionaries were led by 6'10", 255-pound senior forward, center Luke Hunger, transfer out of Northwestern, who came off the bench to post a game-leading and career-high time, 15 points in just over 24 minutes. Hunger filled in admirably for all A10 center Rafael Castro, who was just played by foul trouble. He picked up 3 in the first half. Second half came in. He tried to get aggressive, picked up his 4th foul, and he had to sit for a big chunk of the second half before he came in and finished the game and without fouling out, which was pretty damn good on his behalf, man. But he was just played by foul trouble, so it was good to see Hunger step in and have a major contribution. They needed it. Preseason All-Conference guard Christian Jones added 14 points, 4 rebounds and 2 steals on 6 of 12 shooting from the field, while Western Kentucky transfer Tyrone Marshall Jr. contributed a double-double with 13 points and 12 rebounds on 5 of 10 shooting. Maine put up a tough fight early, holding GW just 37% shooting and 0 for 13 from three-point range in the first half. But despite the cold shooting, GW took a 29-25 lead into the half. The Black Bears opened the second half strong, using a 10-6 run to tie the game at 35, just past the 16-minute mark. However, a clutch three-pointer from Trey Dinkins ignited a 15-4 GW run that pushed the lead back to double digits. From there, GW controlled the rest of the game, the pace and energy, outscoring Maine 38-22 in the second half to seal the win. For Maine, TJ Bill led the way with 13 points and 7 rebounds, both team highs. Ace Flagg, yes, the brother of Dallas Mavericks rookie and top overall NBA pick. Cooper Flagg chipped in 10 points, 4 steals, and 3 rebounds on 4 of 8 shooting. With the win, George Washington started the season 1-0. Obviously, I'm going to travel to Connecticut this Saturday to face 1-0 South Florida in the Hall of Fame tip-off at the Mohegan Sun Arena. The tip is set for 1:30 p.m., and the game will be streamed on Peacock.
While you were at the Smith Center last night, so in College Park, they were opening their regular season slate against Loyola. Maryland started last night on the defensive end. Now, Cardell talked to you a bit earlier. That's all I really walked away thinking about last night was what they did on that end of the floor. They won their 17th season opener in a row, dominating Loyola 80-26. The 26 points were the program's fewest under Brenda Freeze and the program's 3rd fewest allowed ever. The total is the Terps' lowest allowed since a 60-22 win over Morgan State back in 1974. There were some standout performances. One of them, this young lady right here, Aluchi Akanawa, who came over from Duke. She's really shows that she gets it done on both ends. But for, just a little bit more in-depth breakdown, head over to the channel, check out the recap, and like the Wizards, Maryland women's very active this week. Both Thursday and Sunday, they will be playing at Xfinity. Thursday, they host UMBC. Sunday afternoon, they host Georgetown. So looking forward to take that in, and I'm really interested to see how the defense continues to show up. All right, Carter, I know there's a lot that you had because it's been a wild day. And that's just the NFL. There's been a ton across sports in general, but where we start, we take it or leave it, man.
Yeah, we got to start on the NFL side, man. Indianapolis executed a blockbuster deal to acquire 2-time All-Pro cornerback Sauce Gardner from the New York Jets shortly before Tuesday's deadline. While it came at a hefty cost, the Jets received 2 first-round picks in the 26-27 draft and embattled Colts receiver Adonai Mitchell in the deal. Indianapolis general manager Chris Ballard said it was one the team couldn't pass on. Quote, he was a player that we scouted heavily coming out of college, and there's a reason he was the 4th overall pick. Sauce is a proven cornerback. His skills and competitive nature will elevate everyone's play on the defensive unit. We're thrilled he's the coach. The deal gives a New York team that is 1-7 and in last place in the AFC East a chance to build toward the future. And the Jets weren't done either. Later sending 3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Quentin Williams to the Dallas Cowboys for a 26th second-round pick, 27th first-round pick, and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. New York now has 3 first-round picks in the 27 NFL draft. Gardner, meanwhile, gets a new start with the Colts team that holds the best record 7-2 in the AFC, along with the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. Quote, New York has been real. He said in the message posted on social media, Malik, we're going to start with you since you haven't talked. What are your thoughts on both Sauce Gardner being traded and Quentin Williams going to the Cowboys?
Absolutely. New York is blowing it up. They're going to blame it on players, but the people that own the team need to get rid of the team. Sauce Gardner, congratulations to him. Being a guy that didn't get a touchdown scored on him in college, didn't get one scored on him in the NFL for a very long time. He deserves a lot of these guys that are being chained to organizations that aren't going to win anything, that aren't doing anything, deserve an opportunity to get away. The Cowboys, they add to their interior on the defensive side of the ball, which is good for them. Being in the NFC East team, working their defensive, they need people on the defense. Anybody can run through those guys. I might say, yeah, Quentin Williams is a proven guy on the interior piece, so that works for their team. The Cowboys also went, and they got some pieces as well. I might say they got some pieces. The Jets are moving some pieces. At the end of the day, Jets just need to give the organization and put it in somebody else's hands to get their problems gone. But yeah, Breece Hall definitely put a tweet out about he put an emoji out about all the pieces around him going, and all his friends leaving, and he probably wants some bits and pieces of that too, because it's not a singular athlete that can save the New York Jets. So I'm happy the GM or the owner or whoever decided to get those guys out of here, finally see it, how they saw it. That's it, get those guys out of there. Hope some more guys can get out of there. But yes, Sauce Gardner is I definitely feel like the coach got a steal. They got a proven player. And this is the best the coach has been in a very long time. They got a proven player that knows how to play the quarterback position. And for honestly, right now, the way the Colts are playing, their offense is electric. Daniel Jones showing new strands of life, as well as Jonathan Taylor being able to run the ball. He might not win MVP, but he's definitely a most valuable player caliber type thing he got going. So with those two, the only thing you really need is the defense to keep playing hot, and you just got one of the best defenders at his position and one of the best defenders in the NFL. I love the move by the Colts. I understand the move by the Jets. The Cowboys got some pieces.
Okay. Well, Octavian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it because I think, like you said, it worked out for both teams. But talking about Breece Hall, the only thing I could think about is the SpongeBob emoji with Squidward's in the house watching Patrick and SpongeBob outside having fun. He just sitting there looking sad. That's just how I feel like he probably is right now, just sitting looking sad, seeing all his friends outside being released. He's just sitting there. I like it in that sense. My only concern is that, I mean, we saw this happen before with the Jets. They did this already. It's really not going to show if they quote unquote won the trade until I see who they draft in the draft. Because the same way they got Sauce Gardner is the same exact way. They got rid of key pieces at the time. It was a different head coach, obviously. So now, of course, Aaron Glenn gets his opportunity to choose his guy to a certain degree. I think Michael Carter II was begging to get out as well. So they got him out. And then, of course, you move in key pieces like Gardner. I still feel for, what's the other one? Garrett Wilson. He's still stuck there to a certain degree. But for what it needs to be, I think it worked out for everybody. Sauce getting to be free. And, hopefully we're able to see him back as the player that we saw in his rookie season when he won Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then we've all seen what Quentin Williams does. Like I think that was a good pickup for the Cowboys as well. Again, I don't know if it's going to do much for them in this season, but seeing how they can parlay that into next year and see if they can help build up their defense going forward, that might be a good pickup. So I take it in that aspect. I would leave it just because I don't know what the Jets are going to do with these picks. I don't trust anybody in that front office to make sound decisions, as we've seen the decisions they've made over the last couple of years when it comes to player personnel. So I think that's really going to tell me, like, how are you really going to parlay a lot of these number one picks in the draft, you know? And I'll be the first to say I'm not that big into college football myself. But I heard that, you know, this is pretty a rich pass rush draft. So I'm interested to see, you know, what side of the ball they're going to, I would assume, prioritize, knowing that they just lost 3 defensive players. So that'll be interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take it. Everybody wins. You know, guys get to leave the Jets, and 2 other teams get to address some needs. You know, probably a bit of a steep price tag for Sauce Gardner, but I mean, with the way the Colts are playing, that just looks like an all-in move. They're just trying to capitalize on the type of season they're having. So we'll see how it plays out. But like Octavia said, man, you never know what the decision makers at the Jets are going to do. But at the very least, they're giving themselves the opportunity to get some draft capital and bring some resources back. So yeah, man, I got no beef with it.
Wilson.
I'm gonna take it for the Jets, and I'm gonna leave it for the Colts. Chris Ballard, I know when somebody's trying to say their job, and that's what this is. I'm unmoved by any of this. Since you've been the GM of the Colts, you were 62 and 69 before this year started. Like, you've had talent over there since 2017. And I know Big Bad Patrick Mahomes is over there. That said, you've been to the playoffs twice. Just twice. I'm cool with you going to the playoffs and Pat sending you home. Cool with you going to the playoffs and Josh sending you home. I'm cool if Lamar sends you home. To only go twice, it's kind of crazy. So to me, it's just kind of a last-ditch effort. That's good for Sauce, I'm sure, to get out of New York. But on the other side of it for the Jets, I know their owner. We just finished talking about their owner and how unwell of a job, unfit of a job he's done. Their new GM, though, which is interesting, it's not – they used to have Joe Douglas. Their new GM came over from Cardell's team. Gentleman's name is Darren Mogi, or Mogi. I'm sorry, I hope I don't – he was the assistant GM with Denver. So this is his first shot as in the big chair. So to me, this just looks like for the Jets, this has been a mess. I'm gonna get out move as much of this stuff as I can to start anew. Obviously, like Octavia said, time will tell if it ends up making sense or whatnot, or what they do with the picks. But I mean, for me, it's kind of like it's already a dumpster. It's just a matter like where's the dumpster placed at, right? So I'm okay with it. You give yourself multiple chances in the next couple of drafts to swing, to try to get right. But also, I feel like they fleeced every team they made a deal with it, which is crazy because it's usually the Jets getting got. So this was just a weird deadline day. And it's you mentioned Breece Hall, Malik. I think one of the reasons Breece Hall is on the team today, still on the team, same thing with Jermaine Johnson, is because they fleeced a couple teams. They thought they were going to continue to fleece everybody. And other people were like, no, you're going to get rid of them. We'll wait till the offseason. And I'll get Breece Hall for the low because he's going to have to come play somewhere for a prove-it deal because you've wasted him. Same thing with Jermaine Johnson. Like they were asking, I think the Niners, Bears, Cowboys were looking at Jermaine Johnson. They were asking for a second for Jermaine Johnson. I like Jermaine Johnson. I'm a fan of Jermaine Johnson. A second-round pick is absurd. Just because Chris Ballard did what he did, that's between you and the Colts. A second-round pick for somebody you don't play.
Source said that the Chiefs were asking for a fourth for Breece Hall, and they wanted to give up a third.
Like they're on one. Well, I'm cool with taxing the Chiefs, but the rest of the league, like you shouldn't be helping the Chiefs. That's fine. That's the only thing I give them credit for. But for the rest of the league, like a third-round pick for somebody who you don't even value, take the pick. What are you doing? Like you don't use Breece Hall. Like Breece Hall, arrow was pointed up. Then the Jets did what the Jets do, and now Breece Hall is just sitting there. As Octavia said, just multiple members of the Jets are Squidward, or Patrick, or whatever it is. They're all just sitting there watching
in limbo,
just waiting for the year to end, because clearly it looks like the new guy has an idea of what he wants and doesn't want, and I get that, and I'm happy with the capital they got, because they shouldn't have got that much stuff for that. And not to knock Sauce, no disrespect to him, but you're not P2. Nobody should have gave up 2-1s for you. Just being completely honest. I respect that or whatever, but no. And if you're the Jets, you take it. So I'm gonna take it for the Jets. Just Chris Ballard, I hope it works out, brother. Because at first, DeForest Buckner was supposed to be the thing. You've been over there wasting Defoe time the entire time. You went and got your various award. Hopefully he comes back from injury. But if you make a run this year, you go all in, it doesn't work. It's probably going to be because you just put all your chips on the middle of the table for Daniel Jones. So that's just me. So I'm out on the Colts part of it. That's just, to me, it's backwards. Like, you're going to get this amazing defense and be like, Daniel Jones is going to be the guy to get us through it. Like, at some point, the AFC is going to be like, no, Jonathan Taylor, Daniel Jones beat us. Which I think he just finished turning the ball over 6 times this weekend. It's unserious. So I'm just going to leave it.
Staying on football, but we're going to go to college side of things. True freshman quarterback Julian Lewis will start for Colorado on Saturday against West Virginia. Coach Deion Sanders announced Tuesday. When asked why the Buffaloes returning to the 5-star true freshman, Sanders said, quote, common sense, without elaborating further. Lewis will replace senior Liberty transfer Caden Salter, who will be the 3rd player to start at quarterback for Colorado this season. Ryan Staub started against Houston, the team's 3rd game of the season, before Sanders switched back to Salter after 1 game. Quote, he's a young kid. He's going to make young kids mistakes. But it's up to the staff to get him prepared, to get it ready so he can be concise and precise. He has to make good reads and keep the ball out of the run when he feels pressure and just be himself. Colorado 3-6 has lost his past 2 games to Utah and Arizona by a combined score of 105-24, and is 1-5 at Big 12 play. Lewis, who's the number 3 ranked pocket passer in the class of 25 and number 112 overall prospect, saw his first extending playing time of the season last week against Arizona, completed 9 of 17 passes for 121 yards with a touchdown. Sanders said Salter will probably serve as the number 2 quarterback. 2-part question. Take it or leave it with the move from Sanders at quarterback, and take it or leave it that Sanders is most definitely on a hot-ass seat. Octavian, your thoughts?
I'm going to take it and take it. I'm going to take it because at this point, what else can you do? Like, you just ran off their record. At this point, you might as well see what you got in the kid. Like you just named the other quarterback that was starting as a senior transfer from Liberty. You got a young guy here. You might as well put him out there and see what he can do and see if he's really going to be the guy that you can lean on for the rest of the year and going forward. And yeah, things change quickly in college football. You know, as up as Colorado was with, you know, Shador and Shiloh and Travis and all that great publicity, all of the stars coming to Colorado to see the game and all this other stuff. It ain't looking too much like that no more. Life comes at you fast. So yeah, I'm interested to see how and if he can turn it around. But we know how cutthroat it is, and Deion knows this as well, of course, being Deion. But we know how cutthroat it is when it comes to programs, and they don't want to be the laughingstock. They don't want to keep losing anything like that. So I'm hoping that they give him a little more rope to a certain degree, but I do think that seat's warming up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I'll take it on both questions. Like Octavia said, you got nothing to lose at this point. You might as well shake the table a little bit and, you know, I hope it bears some fruit. And yeah, the pressure's mounting for Deion. He's been a little somber in these press conferences lately. I mean, that's why you just gotta keep it even keel. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Just stay in the middle and kind of let the results speak for themselves, whichever way they're gonna talk. Right now, the results are saying you're not a very good football team. So yeah, it remains to be seen whether he can turn around or not. If this works out and they start getting some wins and building some momentum, he'll look like a genius and all will be well. If it doesn't, it's probably gonna get a little tough for him moving forward.
Elite.
I'm actually a little bit different on this. I will take it that I definitely think it's the freshman's time to play. Having 2 seniors ahead of him that won't have eligibility next year, it's going to be his team next year. He's going to be on one that's on the roster, so it's absolutely a smart move to get him in the fire now, see what he can work with. Because at 3 and 6, like you all said, they're not playing for a playoff spot. They're not playing for a bowl game based on their quarterback play. So Deion Sanders is really just moving into what do we have, what do we need to get from the portal, what are the holes that we're trying to fill. And the quarterback position, as of right now, the quarterback conversation is what do we have moving forward, not for the rest of the season. And that goes into the second part of am I taking it or am I leaving it, that Deion's in the hot seat? I'm leaving it. In my opinion, Colorado won't have a better record when he leaves. There's not going to be a coach that takes his position and they just soar and do those things, because like we all know, the resources he's bringing in, the name he has, all the reasons for people to come to Colorado is the reason why they're so good. It's not really more so he's only been there for 2 years, 3 years maybe. It's the 3rd year right now. Mm-hmm. It's not the more so the super development of what everything they have going on, but the gelling and making it work. And then the superstar pieces around it. So them kicking him out of the door, I definitely don't think that's a thing. 3 and 6 every year is not a productive season. No, Deion Sanders had the best record that they had in a very long time. Absolutely very long time. They're breaking a lot of records. They're winning a lot of games. Not too many bowl games. Not too many. No conference championships. But the things that he's doing for that program right there is amazing. As everyone can see, it's a quarterback thing going on this year. It's not that they're calling the wrong play at the wrong time or execution things on all 3 phases or anything like that. But it's just more so if you can't win without a team captain. Everybody's team captain is the quarterback. So this was just a bad year of the quarterback circle, post Shador. But it'll get handled. There's 500 to 1,000 decent quarterbacks around. They didn't take a big swing getting Slater, but he was a great quarterback at a great school last year at Liberty. He just wasn't a great quarterback in this system. So they'll figure out what type of quarterbacks work in the system that they have without Shador, and it'll work. But I definitely don't think he's in the hot seat. People are going to say the things they say because you know how big he is in the media. But some years are your years, some years aren't. It can't become, the fire can't be any bigger this week in comparison to 3 weeks from now if they're 3-9 or anything like that. Because we know this week they don't have a quarterback. We know next week they don't have a quarterback. And the week after that, they'll either still have the same freshman or they'll have the same 2 seniors that only won them 3 games.
Wilson.
I'm gonna take it that the youngsters getting a job, but I thought Deion messed this up. Like way back then, when this kid committed, there was no reason to go bring Slater into me. The kid should have just been playing all year, through the good and the bad or whatever. They're 2 totally different quarterbacks, and I get maybe wanting to have like a veteran, but I don't think you should have gotten Caden, and I think it's gonna hurt Slater for what his chances, his prospects for the next level. I thought it was a bad decision by Slater to go to Colorado too. Especially like if they didn't have this kid in the wings, cool, then I feel like maybe it's all about Slater. But you had this kid this entire time. Like the biggest thing was when Shador was still in school, it was about landing this kid. So why do the thing where you bring in a vet? Like you were gonna give this kid the keys eventually. You might as well. It's not the pros, it's college football. You might as well just start the year with and call it a day. The only reason I don't think his seat would be warm is just because of, man, the history of Colorado football is so dark outside. They haven't had a winning season. Before last year when Deion and company went 9-4, you got to go back to 2016. They were 10-4. The coach in 2016 was Mike McIntyre, I'm sorry, and that winning year was sandwiched between 2 losing years. and he got one more losing year. So he was there for 4 years and had one winning season before they moved on. So the seat should be warm, but I don't know if Colorado has people beating down their door to go take that job just because of where they're at. I think that's the thing that would give me some reservations. But yeah, the Julian Lewis thing, like this is something that Colorado did to themselves. Like you threw that sink at trying to recruit the kid. After, Shedeur was there. It should have been from Shedeur to Julian. We didn't need to have the 2 pit stops just to probably get the most talented kid in the building the chance to finally play. Like he's gonna do freshman stuff, but now you're 3-6 and you got to sit through freshman stuff. But, hey,
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. To me, the seat is definitely warm. It's just the climate of college sports. ADs and higher ups are very impatient. They hire Dion with the expectations to be contending at this point. You know what I mean? And they're not at that point. And it's not even just that they're losing; it's how they're losing. They're getting destroyed. They're getting utterly destroyed with a coaching staff of Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? In position plate, like it's tough to watch. It's tough to see, man. Also, but I don't think he's gonna get fired unless like this trend just keep happening. Like they could just keep getting blown out by 50 and all that type of stuff. Then I can see it at the end of the season probably being that. Because also, I don't know what Colorado's financial situation is with the football program. It ain't SEC level. You know what I mean? So you fired Dion, that's $33 million for a buyout before his contract is done. I don't know if they're gonna eat that. Now SEC, they don't care. They got oil money. That's just $5. We can get the coach, get the new coach. But Colorado, I don't know if they're gonna eat that. So that's another thing that's protecting. And obviously, we all know especially in football, you definitely need a hell of a buyout clause just in case. Because, like I said, impatient ADs who would just get rid of you in a moment's notice or whatnot. But the seat's definitely warm, man. They expected better. I know they had a winning season last year, 9-4, the first one, and God knows how long, but it's like right back to what they were the first year. And right now, it'd be different if you could see some youngsters that's promising that you could see like, all right, next year they just had to learn. They'll be all right next year. It ain't that. It looks bad. It looks really bad, man. And I know everybody like we could hit the portal and all that, but if you're gonna but what game-changing recruits gonna want to come after this? You see what I'm saying? Like, who want that challenge? And that's just something we're gonna have to wait and find out about. But yeah, it's an interesting situation going on in Colorado, man. That only winning can honestly fix. If we being real. We're going to move to the NBA side and rapid fire. Ja Morant continued to not have fun as a member of the Grizzlies on Monday as Memphis lost to the Pistons at FedEx Forum, coming off a 1-game suspension following a game where his effort was questioned by a number of people. Morant scored 18 points of 5 of 16 shooting and turned the ball over 5 times. If there was any question about whether he's having a good time, he confirmed that no, he is not. Asked whether things between himself and the coaching staff had been cleared up, Morant declined to give his own answer. Quote, "Y'all asked that question to them, right? So y'all know the answer to that." When another reporter asked what the last 3 days had been like for Morant, he said, "My last 3 days." When he asked if the joy was the same for him right now, Morant simply said no. Asked why not, Morant shrugged and made a noise. Asked what could be done to get his joy back, he said, "We'll see." Oh, man. Ray, just what are your thoughts on Mr. Morant's situation in Memphis, man?
Oh boy. Yeah. Things have not been good for him ever since he said they was fine in the West. Like Jesus. But yeah, this is where you need veterans. He needs, I don't know he's around. He needs somebody to kind of grab him by the arm and guide him through this time in his career. He's obviously a very talented player, but the situation right now doesn't look good for him. I'm pretty sure there's some conversations being had on what it would take to move him. Yeah, it's just tough, and to see his his body language and the way he's responding. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to turn this around. To be completely honest, I mean, he's a young guy that hasn't been making the best decisions lately. Yeah, and the team's struggling, so it might be in everybody's best interest for him to get a fresh start. But yeah, it's when I was looking at him and how he was going about that interview, it just seems like him nor the team are on the same page. And once that starts, especially with the face of your franchise, there's going to be a shift very soon, unless that thing turns around.
Late.
I agree with Ray here. When it comes to millionaires and billionaires, people aren't making investments and putting money into things and the people they can't trust with and coexist with. The time is ticking on the experiment of Ja Morant there. Since he's been in Memphis, they haven't made a Western Conference appearance. We're not talking about making deep runs in the playoffs. So they're paying a guy that's very explosive, very athletic, does his thing, but they're not getting any return. And then they're also paying for attitude, Everybody doesn't like the media. To be forced to talk to the media, in my opinion, every athlete having to do the media conference and stuff like that, everyone should have to do that. But because they do, and some people don't like, just the confrontation. Some people aren't PR trained, they don't have that person grabbing them by the arm like Ray said. He's giving his responses off, and this is how he feels. He's filtering it. I know he probably wants to say more words. He probably can say some better words, but that's just how he's coming about the situation. And like Ray said, being the head of the team, being the team captain, being the guy that everyone should look into, being like, you can't be the face and acting like this. So he definitely won't end his career in Memphis. One day they're definitely going to figure out the right team that they can call and put some pieces together, get him out of there for a hefty return. But yeah, ever since he's been there, there's been more tickets being sold, but not more championships being won. And at that point, sooner or later, the people that sign the checks like to go in other directions.
Yeah, Malik, to piggyback off what you just said, and just for you in general, ESPN NBC just struck a $76 billion 11-year deal with the NBA media rights to broadcast the games. They cashing the checks. Their ass got to speak at the post-game press conference. It ain't about what they want to do. It's a job. Do it. You don't have to do the job. You don't have to play basketball. But no disrespect. Y'all generation always about what y'all want to do. It's about what you got to do. It's called being a professional. Step your game up. Stop crying. Go ahead, Wilson.
Yeah, Memphis. I was just sitting here looking back at the top of that 2019 draft. Man, I know the Pelicans and Grizzlies wish they could have a do-over if they knew now what they knew. Boy, because this is not it. Yeah, obviously, I think he's going to get moved. With things being what they are, I'm sure the returns are not going to be what it could be. It just, to me at this moment, it just feels a little childish. I've been seeing, I just want to make sure I took my time seeing what he's been saying, what the new coach has been saying. And obviously, all coaches are different. Athletes are different. Some people do better with people who are blunt and overtly direct. Other people don't deal well with those types of people. That said, like, dude, you're the guy. Like, this is part of stuff that goes with being a guy. So it's hard for me to have, empathy for like this part of it, because to me it's just no one's doing anything crazy to you. Like, even just going back to that draft, like the top 2 picks in that draft, they don't play enough for how either one of them go about their business. Like, you went 1 and 2. Memphis doesn't see you that often, both for different reasons, but both of the reasons I feel for both players, I feel like both of them played a big part in those reasons themselves. Job with the off-court behavior, that's your decision-making. You got to do better. Zion, decision making, still taking care of yourself, decision making. Like, but those franchises, Malik said, those are $1 billion entities, right? You can't do that. Like, they got a limited return on those investments. Yeah, man, they're gonna get the moving. Like, think about the people who drafted you are usually fired already by now. Like, they set stuff back. Just a few years ago, it was we're flying out in the West. Or you remember that time when the Grizzlies were like this cute, fun bunch that wanted to fight and scrappy, and the West changed like 3 times over since then. And it's happened because like their best player just hasn't been there. And then now, in conjunction with him being out, like Jaren Jackson Jr. is, been going through. He's not on the court on a regular basis. So that's 2 of your best players, ideally. And where does that leave Memphis? So, I mean, like, they're probably gonna have to start from ground zero here in a little bit, pull the Jets. Only I don't think they're gonna be able to fleece anybody. So we'll see what ends up happening. But no, it's just not a good look, man. I think this is year 8 in the NBA. I'm sure you want to continue playing in the league. But yeah, I think Ray said it with the vets, the absence of vets. Yeah, this is why vets still matter with teams in the locker rooms. And this is just ridiculous. Like, again, you're not supposed to feel bad for teams, $1 million entities, but 2 teams burnt picks at the top of the draft, man. Like, that's crazy. Like, burnt them.
Xavier.
Yeah, I think the key word that Wilson said that I really wanted to say as well is it just seems very childish. It seems very much a toddler who didn't get to play before he had to take a nap or something. Like, it just gives there's no need for that. Like, of course, like, you're not going to always get along with everybody, especially when it comes down to your coaching or whatever it is. But I think the benching or the suspension was to remind him, like, you're not bigger than the program, bro. Like, you're not, like, we need you, yeah, but you're not going to just be out here and just doing whatever you want. It sucks because we know the type of player he is, and it's like he just can't get out his own way. Now, of course, I'm speaking based off of the things that are out in the media. I don't know what's really going on behind closed doors, but still, you got to be a professional, act like a professional, and do what you need to do. I say all the time, a lot of these players need media training, like a lot of them. You can't be like that, and especially like you said, being the face of the franchise, all the things that he's already done while he's been in that franchise, and you can call it what you want, but the stain that he's put on that franchise for the situations that he's placed himself in. Just not being smart. And this is just another situation that he's putting himself in that he does not have to be in. He can just take the high road and say, I was wrong. I should have did this. I'm going to do better and keep it pushing, but it just seems like they always got to be woe is me and just make it more than it really needs to be. So like you guys all said, they definitely need a vet. That he needs somebody that's going to pull his coattail to a certain degree. Maybe this is a coach's way of trying to do that. But I think, like you all have stated as well, a vet presence for him probably will help him in that. And then also, like you guys all said, it's probably time to move on for both parties. He probably does need a fresh start somewhere else, but somewhere that is also vet heavy, somewhere where a vet is going to be able to check him. He needs somebody that's going to be able to check him and somebody that's not scared of him. Like, I'm not saying anybody's like personally scared of him or anything like that, but somebody who's not going to have any issues with putting him in his place. So hopefully he gets it together because the talent is there, and I think you guys said it's year 8. These years go by fast in the league. Like, he's wasting a lot of time doing all of these all this nonsense, and he's wasting his prime and his body and how he's able to move, because he's not a super huge guy. He flies a lot. He's talked about in the past of like trying not to dunk so much because he's always up on the floor here and on the floor there. Like, you're taking away more time from you to be able to reach a goal that I assume that you want to do, which is win the NBA championship. And we know the Memphis Grizzlies are starving for one of those as well. So hopefully he gets it together, but I do foresee that this probably won't last too much longer for them.
Yeah, my take on Ja, and I love his talent and whatnot. He just need to man up. It's just as simple as that. Like, the days of calling these dudes and giving them benefit of the doubt is over, man. Like, I'm not saying all the coaches and front office do the right things. They're grimy. Some of them are grimy. Some of them aren't professional. We all know that, but that don't give you the excuse to not be professional, man. Like, you don't have the rope that you once had because, one, y'all not successful, y'all not winning, you're not producing at the level you once did, and because you're off court transgressions, man. It just is what it is. The effort that you showed in that game, the coach has every right to get on you, because if he doesn't, he loses the rest of the locker room. Then what? Then what? You already got a coach fired. No, sometimes the players got to be held accountable. Wilson, you brought up Zion. The whole training staff lost their jobs over the last couple of years because he was injured and wasn't in shape. They got fired. Zion's still employed, making great money. Now all of a sudden, no disrespect, now all of a sudden in his contract year, where if you're not in shape, you don't play X amount of games, the next contract isn't guaranteed or whatever it is. Now he wants to be in tip-top shape and stuff like that. Why couldn't you do that before? Like, it's always these excuses and stuff, man. And see, people are losing jobs, and NBA opportunities are damn near impossible to come by because it's a million people trying to get them. There's a lot of qualified people out there that deserve them. All right. They're hard to come by. They're very personal. You get those opportunities, you want to do the job, but what if you're in a position where my job is reliant on this athlete to listen, be disciplined, and do what they need to do, like a training staff, and they don't do it? Who you think the owner's going to blame? The easiest people to let go and hold accountable, and even if it ain't their fault, is the training staff. We can get some new training staff in here. But what good is that going to do if the athletes determine not to listen? So it's just enough. It's enough, man. It's enough, man. And he's wasting talent. Like you said, year 8, it seemed like he just came into the league.
It's
like just came into the league.
I was off one. My fault.
Is what?
I said I was off one at 7. My bad, but
yeah, but 7, you basically in your prime, because it's not like he one and done type. You know what I'm saying? Like you knocking on the door of your prime. And for point guards, especially with his style of play, your life shot ain't the same as like a bigger wing or a big man and stuff like that. Like, man, it flips quick, man. It flips quick. And I know the veteran thing is cool. Sometimes it works, but who's to say he gonna listen to the vets? We just had a guard that's a teammate of Zion Williamson, who just was in DC, who played with some of the best vets you could play with. How'd that go? They had to let him go. And you see what's going on still. So nah, man, it's just, dog, look, man, it's just maturity within one. Like, when they get it seemed like when they both you brought up Jaren Jackson, when they got their deals, the production declined. They haven't been the same since. When in actuality, when you get that deal, they looking at you to, at the very minimum, maintain what you've been doing, but build on that so we can try to win. And in this second apron world we live in the NBA, no team's going for all that, though. Like, they just not going. Like, the tolerance level low. They're not even gonna argue with you. Okay, cool. We in the draft looking for the next one. You see, like, look, Ja, you see what the situation with Ja? Who's on? There's a whole bunch of freshman guards out there that's going to be in the lottery that's killing right now. Starting with Darren Peterson in Kansas. There's always a young boy that's coming up ready to take your spot, man. So that's what I'm saying. Even in the players' position, you can't take these for granted. I think I saw an interview with Charlie Villanueva. Playing the NBA is a privilege, man. It's a privilege. It's not a right. That's a hell of an opportunity, man. And you probably, because he held you accountable. That's what the coach's job is supposed to do. When you BS him, man, he's supposed to get on you. Get out your way, get out your fit. Like, enough is enough, man. Like, get out. Oh, come on, man. Like, and because I love Ja's talent, man. I don't want him to go down this road, man. And then he older and he like, yeah, man, I want to tell the youngins. He doing this little media so when he old. Funny how they love the cameras when they get older and stuff, but when they playing, nah, man, I ain't trying. That's part of the deal. You know what I'm saying? Then he telling youngins, yo, don't do what I did, man. Be professional, listen, all that. But why can't you do that, man? All it is ego. And I don't want to see him get kicked out, or he become one of them dudes where his role is diminished on another team and he can't be who he is, because it's going to happen, man. It's knocking on the door of it happening. Like, who knows? Memphis got to begin. Calls are being made. We like. I think we all can agree on that. Whether they making the calls or teams are inquiring, it's just a matter of what they're offering because of the situation. And it's the situation so toxic. You tying the franchise hands, they can't even get really nothing back in return. So they're probably just saying no because they know what the talent he is. He's an all-star talent, all NBA talent. So nah, man, enough is enough, man. It's just time for these youngers to grow, man. Like, and it's not all the youngest, man, because you. Look how Wemby came back. Look it's a ton of the youngest that's killing right now. SGA is a perfect prime example. Got it done. Nothing to say about that dude. Not one thing. That whole damn team, the whole team in a sense is ran by a bunch of youngins. they just win. They play hard. They play defense. So why can't these other youngins that ain't come close to doing what they did follow suit? Sometimes, man, you gotta swallow your pride and just show a little humility, man, and just get the job done. Because the coach was right in this situation. We saw your effort on the court, man.
Yeah, man, it's like you said. I'm sure a bunch of teams inquired, and I know some of the teams out west are definitely inquiring. But hey, man, that's and the biggest part is if you get moved, it's not gonna be your team.
No.
Like it's like this is why that first opportunity is huge for him, Zion, other young players that popped the way that they did. Like once, like you said, you go down this, once you end up on this path, you get moved a couple more times, you're fitting in somewhere, and your game's gonna suffer a little bit. Your game may suffer. Everyone doesn't deal with that the best.
For last point. What's going on up in Philly right now? Embiid, the guy. Injuries hit. Maxey is Maxey, and that young boy that came in on fire. Now with a franchise, hey, we rolling with that backcourt. We can count on that. We trust that ball. You don't even hear nobody talking about Paul George right now. Y'all people probably forgot he on the team. It moves quick, man. Because you know why? The people in the front office, the coaching staff, all those pieces, if they don't make the necessary adjustments for the greater good of the team, they lose their jobs. And I ain't about to lose my ability to feed my family over your goofy ass because you don't want to humble yourself. You can go. Let's get this. Let's move. Let's change.
Oh, man, gotta love it. We appreciate you guys. We'll check in with you guys next week. Same time, same place as always. Don't forget, just go on to Roku or Amazon and add our channel. And Wizards Outlook, folks, we'll see y'all a couple more times this week. For sure, as the Wizards got a road game tomorrow night. Back-to-back home games, as Ray outlined earlier. Y'all have a good one.